Greetings of peace, and thanks for tuning in. May the peace and blessings of Allah be with you. So in these videos, we prepare for the coming of Imam Mahdi, as well as the second coming of Jesus. Peace and blessings be upon them, also known as the Machiachs. So in this video, we're going to be looking at some very advanced spiritual topics. So if it does trigger your ego, just try to let it go, give it to Allah, choose the mind of peace, and always maintain the law of harmony and balance. So that's why I have this image here in the backdrop here. It's going to help us understand this on a deeper level. So it's important, to look at this. It could help you in this life as well as others. And it's going to help us tie in the knowledge that's within the Quran. Everything I'm going to say is going to be in alignment with the Quran. I've got Quran verses here, and this is a wealth of knowledge that I've gained over the years studying spirituality. I've been studying spirituality for over since I was 16, so it's been decades. And so we're going to put this all together for you guys to help us, understand the whys and the hows of this reality. Okay, just as an example, Allah says in the Quran that all life comes from water. Now, Allah doesn't go into detail and say, the whys and the how of why all life comes from water. But later on, sometimes some scientist comes along and figures out, wow, it's true. All life does come from water, and XYZ reasons, uh, why that occurs. So what I'm going to doing here, we're going to understand the whys and the hows of why the Khalifah system is the best form of leadership for humankind, why kingship and democracies will never work here on earth, and why the world is in the state that it is in, and help us understand gays and lesbians and LGBTQ on a deeper spiritual level. Okay, and I just haven't heard people talking about this stuff, and I think it's for us very important to have this basic greater reality, understanding this greater reality, to give us a better foundation to prepare for the coming of Imam Mahdi as well as the second coming of Jesus. Now we all know that the Khalifa system is the best system for humankind because Allah has guided us towards that, but we don't understand the why is it. Why is it the best system? Okay, why does kingship and democracy fail? Okay, and to understand, we won't understand this by looking into the dunya. We're gonna have to be looking outside the dunya into the greater realities of existence. Okay, so that's what we're gonna be looking and understanding in this video. And like I said, it may not be for everybody, as we'll come to understand later in this video. Now, what makes Earth such an amazing place for the higher soul? Okay, what makes Earth an amazing place for the higher soul is the amount of diversity. Okay, the amount of diversity that's in Earth. Okay, we've got all sorts of plants, all sorts of all different types of animals and aquatic beings and plant life and insects and just the human beings here. There's all different types of races and colors and attitudes and experiences to have at all these different time periods. We had the all the different ages and all the different civilizations that existed here on Earth all give flavor and wisdom and diversity to the higher soul. So the soul has many different lifetimes, okay, hundreds if not thousands of different lifetimes here on the earth plane. Now the higher soul may have millions of other lifetimes in other different worlds and other different creatures in the universe or in other universes. I'm not going to go into all that detail, but I'm going to try to keep this more simple here on Earth to understand what's going on here. So here, the higher soul could have hundreds, if not thousands, of different incarnations, all starting with lower levels to mid levels to more advanced, very advanced spiritually oriented incarnations here on Earth. So incarnation just means a lifetime. Okay. And with the lower level incarnations, the higher the soul is going to have many more lower incarnations and very small amount of very advanced incarnations here on Earth. Now the lower incarnations, they're going to be more body oriented. Their spirits are not that developed, and they're going to be more focused on the dunya oriented things. They're just going to, go to work, pay their taxes, and then die, and not really explore any spiritual, not explore any spiritual aspects. So one other thing that's very important to keep in mind, that all these lifetimes are all happening simultaneously. Okay, they're all happening at the same time. So, uh, for an example, because it's sometimes a hard concept for people, just imagine like a YouTube channel. Okay, the channel itself is like the higher self. Okay, and all these little incarnations are like videos uh, in the channel. Okay, now these channels were all the videos were created at different times within the channel, but they're all existing at once within the channel. So you can listen to an old video or a newer video uh, at the same time. You can have two different computers running the same video, running two different videos uh, from the same channel at the same time, and that's how this is operating. So the higher soul operates outside of time and space. Okay, so the lower level incarnations are more body oriented, and the more advanced incarnations are more spiritually oriented. So all the experiences and knowledge gained in the lower levels help empower the spirit of the more advanced incarnations. Okay, now there's a lot more lower to mid level incarnations there are advanced incarnations, and that explains why the world is what it is. That's why um, you know how the few can manipulate the masses or whatever, because there are more lower level incarnations, and they're going to fall into all these body traps. Okay, they're going to get trapped by the shaitan through their ego, and this is going to help strengthen their soul, their spirit, to help other incarnations gain strength. Okay, now we're going to go to the Quran here, and it's going to help us. The Quran actually gives the foundation to this within the Quran, and it's right at the beginning of the Quran from chapter 2, verses 2 through 7. So we'll just go ahead and read it, and then we'll look into this a little more deeper. So this is the only perfect book, which is the Quran, wanting in naught, containing nothing doubtful, harmful, or destructive. There is no false charge in it. It is a guidance for those who guard against evil. Those who believe in the existence of hidden reality which is beyond the reach of ordinary human perception and cognizance, and who observe prayer and spend on others out of that which we have provided for them, and who also believe in that message which has been revealed to you, in that which has been revealed before you, and who have firm faith in the hereafter. It is they who follow the guidance from their Lord, and it is they alone who are successful in attaining their object in this life and the hereafter. As for those who are bent upon denying the truth, they would not believe, because it is all the same to them whether you warn them or do not warn them, with the result that Allah has set a seal upon their hearts and upon their hearing, and on their eyes as a covering, and a mighty punishment awaits them. So, Allah says in the Quran here that those who believe in the existence of hidden reality, which is beyond the reach of ordinary human perception and cognizance. So, we're discussing something here that is beyond the average human perception. This goes beyond the physical reality here. So, Allah encourages us to explore these hidden realities. Allah says this is designed for those who seek, to believe, those who believe in the hereafter, who have faith in the hereafter. Um, okay, and then we're going to go lower here to chapter 2, verse 6. As those who are bent upon denying the truth, they would not believe, because it's all the same to them whether you warn them or do not warn them, with the result that Allah has set a seal upon their hearts and upon their hearing and upon their eyes as a covering. Okay, so Allah on the lower and mid-level incarnations, Allah has set more of a seal upon their eyes and their ears and their hearts. Okay, and the reason why this is done is because they need those they need those basic lifetimes for experiences. Because if it had all the knowledge of all the lifetimes, if it had all the knowledge, you know, of the higher soul, if it had all this knowledge, um, it wouldn't fall into the traps that it would. Like if I knew what I knew now when I was a kid, I wouldn't make all the dumb mistakes that I did when I was younger. So this is why that all our other lifetimes are hidden from us for the most part, is to give us unique experiences. Okay, now what the shaitan and the followers and the friends of the shaitan are trying to do is they're trying to make us all the same. Okay, they're trying to get rid of this diversity here on Earth. They want us one world government, one world BS or whatever. They want us all to conform, be all the same, and stagnate our spiritual growth. Okay, so diversity is very, very important for spiritual growth for the higher soul. I can't emphasize this enough. This is what makes Earth so unique and so important in the universe, in our galaxy, is because of the uniqueness here. Okay, so the higher self, the higher soul, can um, be in one place and have all these diverse experiences for them to grow spiritually, to grow with wisdom, and to beautify and create unique characters within uh, these higher souls. Okay, so this is why few can manipulate the masses. Why the shaitan can manipulate the masses, because there's so many lower to mid level incarnations that are just having basic experiences. Okay, so it's very important to understand. Okay, so the higher soul has a variety of experiences. Okay, it wants the variety. It wants to be a man, experience of a woman, experience being poor, experience being rich, experiencing in between, experiencing chasing power, experiencing, lusting after the dunya, experiencing spiritual growth, meditating more, spiritual minded things, experience life and death. The list goes on unique experiences, and you can just look in modern times, just look at music from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and you can just see, and to modern day music or whatever, and you can see the diversity of just music throughout time. Okay, and this is the same thing. You go throughout time, you got different civilizations, you got different time periods that have unique experiences for the higher soul to have. Okay, and this is why in the Quran, Allah emphasizes forgiveness so much, that this is like a training ground for the soul, and very important for us to be forgiving of one another, because we do have these our own lower souls that do make lots of mistakes for learning processes or whatever. Okay, and these exist also into the hereafter. These, as you can see in some of these silver cords that are coming down, that there's no incarnation there. They've moved on to the hereafter. Okay. Um, so you know that's why the this world is an illusion. It's thought up of the ego, and like I said, the lower levels are more body oriented. And I'll just give you like an example, like a lower incarnation, maybe you know uh, 10%, 10 to 20% spiritually minded, and then 80 to 90% body oriented, or they identify 90% with their body. Now the more mid-level, or maybe like 50-50, maybe they're 50 body identifying and maybe 50 spiritual. And then when you get to more advanced, to be 70 plus spiritual, and then maybe 20-25% body. So you can never be like, being in this physical world, you never be 100% spiritual, because that would, you would no longer be in this world. So you're always going to have a small amount of body identification, but the goal is to empower the spirit to overpower this dunya. And the Quran is completely designed for this. I mean, giving charity, praying, being good to others, not lying, being honest, being truthful, not chasing power, being good to family, being good to others, being good to your parents. All these empower the spirit and weaken the physical body. Okay, because the body wants to be number one. The body thinks the ego wants to be the forefront. It wants to chase the dunya. It wants to chase the lusts. It wants to chase the power of this world. But none of that is fulfilling to the spirit. You know what I mean? That's just physical gratification to satisfy the ego, but we'll never fulfill the 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 spirit. So over these many lifetimes, the spirit will grow restless and will try to break free from the physical body, uh, and from lusting after the physical world. So the whole the Quran, uh, the Islam, submitting to Allah, unique creator of all that exists, like just praying to Allah, that takes you totally away from your ego. Okay, you're spiritually oriented. You're focusing on Allah, who is the unique creator of all that exists. Okay, nothing exists outside of Allah. So you're focusing on truth. You're focusing on the real reality of what's going on, and not the illusion of this physical body. Okay, so just want to make that really, really clear. And now we're going to understand why kingship and democracy don't work. Okay, so kingship, you may get a righteous king, okay, which is good, but over time, the king is going to have offspring, and that offspring are in line to be the next king. So what happens is, say you do get a righteous king who is spiritually advanced, but then has offspring who are lower levels and more mid-level incarnations. What's going to happen? Well, those lower level incarnations are going to take power, and then then it's downhill from there, from the leadership position. Okay, that's why kingship will never work long term. Okay, democracy will definitely not work because, as the law says in the Quran here, in chapter 6, verse 116, should you obey the majority of those on earth, they would lead you astray from Allah's way. They follow nothing but mere surmise and do nothing but make conjecture. So even Allah says here in the Quran, do not follow the majority of those on earth, and democracy is majority rule. But Allah doesn't explain the whys and the how. Now I'm explaining the whys and the how. Now the why is because there's too many lower to mid level incarnations here on earth compared to very advanced. Okay, so democracy is like the blind leading the blind. You got lower level incarnations overpowering the more advanced incarnations, and and they're making decisions more on their body, more body oriented decisions and choices, okay, which leads to corruption, which leads to injustice and all sorts of problems that we have here on earth, because democracy is terrible. Okay, kingship will never work as well, as I explained. Okay, democracy is one of the worst forms of government. Okay, you have wolves, in control of the hen house. It's not good. So why is the Khalifa system so important? Why does it work? Okay, the Khalifa system gets the most advanced souls. Okay, it gets the most advanced scholars, uh, people of knowledge, learned people. Okay, and they get together and then they choose the most rightly guided and most capable person to lead the civilization or the ummah, and to be a representation of God here on earth and to establish the laws and commandments of Allah, the unique creator of all that exists. Okay, so you're going to get the most advanced souls making the best decision for leadership. Okay, and this is the most efficient way to run a civilization leadership wise. There's very little red tape, there's very little corruption that can be had. And once the Khalifa dies, that same group will go out and choose the next Khalifa. But we know the next Khalifa will be, after Imam Mahdi, will be Jesus, peace and blessings be upon them. Okay, so that may or not be necessary. So this is why the Khalifa system is the best, and this is why kingship and democracy will not work. Okay, so I'm giving you behind the scenes reality of what's going on under the hood, stripping back the dunya of what's and the whys and hows of what's going on here on earth, and why these shaitanic systems like the kingship and democracy will not work. Okay, so and that's why the state is in the state it is, because there's too many lower level to mid level incarnations. They're chasing after the dunya too much, and and then we have the wolves running the show through democracy and kingships on this earth, and that's why it's run amok. That's why we're a debt slave system. I mean, I can list and go on and on about all the injustice and corruption that's going on. Okay, and this is also going to help us understand gays and lesbians and LGBTQ uh, people that identify with different things or whatever. Now, this is all a manipulation done by the shaitan here, okay? Because obviously the shaitan understands uh, higher truth and realities and stuff like this. So I'm sure the shaitan knows about reincarnation and the higher souls and stuff like that. He's got an idea of what's going on behind the scenes, even maybe better than me in some aspects. um, but but it's all done to confuse these people, and so basically with gays and lesbians, the higher soul may have a lot of male a lot of male in a row lifetimes, or a lot of female uh, lifetimes in a row, and when the soul is incarnated into the opposite gender, it still has the vibrations and the energies of those other say it was a female, but in like Ellen, if you know Ellen DeGenerate, I think is her name. She's a out of the closet lesbian, but seemed to have a lot of male lifetimes prior to her life in this time or whatever. So she still has the residue or the vibrations of those male energies uh, in her female form, um, that is affecting her identity. So the same goes with the LGBT community. They want to identify with all these different things. Well, the higher soul can identify with so many different things. The higher soul has been many different types of animals and creatures and other different advanced races out in the universe and the galaxies or whatever. We've had all these different types of experiences. So when somebody wants to identify with a fox or whatever, they might have had an experience. They might have had a lifetime where they were a fox. You know what I mean? So um, it's not so far. It's not so crazy of an idea, but it's just taken out of context. And you know what I mean? It's very important that we focus on our life here, because this is the here and now in our present conscious moment. Um, our perspective is here and now, and we want to use this unique experience. So I'm a male in this one, so I don't want to identify as a female, because my I chose to be in a male physical body, or was guided by Allah from my higher soul to be in this physical incarnation. This because it was more beneficial for me to have the physical male energy and vibration that is more beneficial for my higher soul in this lifetime. So if I try to be a woman or identify as something, a sea creature in this lifetime, it's not going to benefit me. You know what I mean? So this is just a trick by the shaitan to manipulate the gays and lesbians and the LGBT community, that they're having these. They can feel something is there, but they don't know really what it is, and then the shaitan manipulates, through the LGBT stuff and whatnot or whatever. But there is some truth behind what they're saying. So this helps us understand from a higher perspective gays and lesbians in the LGBT community, which really hasn't been discussed very much. I found at all, or anybody giving a spiritual take on the LGBT thing that's been going on. So this may be some benefit to those out there as well. So I'm just going over my notes here just to make sure I mentioned everything I wanted to mention. But yeah, it's very important to understand this stuff because this is you're not going to be taught this stuff in school. The school system is very physically oriented, not spiritual. They've taken God and spirituality out of the Western world. It's only there as a as a side thing, which should be in the forefront. Spirituality, God, the unique creator of all that exists, it should be at the forefront. Of course, because if it wasn't for Allah, unique creator of all that exists, we wouldn't have these experiences to begin with. So, um, very important knowledge to be gained here. Now, I can go in deeper in other stuff, but I just want to try to keep this simple. Under 30 minutes. Um, nothing going deep into stuff too much, but just giving you that basic, just like what Allah does in the Quran, just gives you the basic, like all life comes from water, just gives you the foundation, and then we grow upon it, and we establish on it. So I just want to put this out there to all the people out there that can understand this stuff on a spiritual level. Like I said, it won't be for the lower to mid level incarnations, but this is designed for the more spiritually advanced incarnations. Now, a lower level can watch this and still gain value out of it because it could be helping one of their other more advanced incarnations down the road, or maybe down the road in their existing life. um, you know, so this still could have benefit. Just like the Quran, you may not be a very spiritual person, but you read the Quran, you understand the concepts and stuff like that. It could be very that knowledge could be benefiting other lifetimes and other different and other different time periods that are more advanced that will gain the knowledge within the Quran. So this is all I have for now. I like to try to make more consistent videos, but it's a little bit tough with work and everything like that. So I'm trying to get my life where I don't need to work so much for just to pay the bills and stuff like that, and make more quality videos and knowledge, and I have time to contemplate and practice my spirituality more. If I had the time to do so, but a lot of my time goes to work. Taking care of the family and stuff like that. So, but in the future, I plan. It might not be this year or next year, but eventually try to be more financially free and spend more time doing this and helping prepare for the coming of Imam Mahdi, as well as second coming of Jesus, peace and blessings be upon him, to help establish the laws and commandments of law on this earth, to help bring peace and harmony to the earth and things like that, justice to the earth. I mean, as an advanced as an I feel as an advanced soul here on Earth, it's very difficult to as an advanced soul. There's no idea of seeking power or wanting to be leader. Like an advanced soul does not care for those things. You know what I mean? He wants to grow spiritually. He wants to help others grow spiritually. That's what really is important to a more advanced soul. Not caught up in the nonsense of political stuff and all the nonsense that's going on in the dramas and stuff like that going on in the world. No, what's more important is the unique experiences and the spiritual growth that can be had. So it's a little bit tough for me to make regular videos. So like I said, hopefully, inshallah, um, I'll be more financially free in the future. I'm taking strides in that direction, and you know, uh, yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you take Allah as your shield, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be with you. Thank you so much. Take care. Peace.